Hello everyone, I'm Gemma Beall. Welcome to Beyond Second Cognition. Psychology is the study of human behavior. When I studied it academically, I really didn't understand a lot of what I was learning. I understood the words and understood the concepts in theory, but I had no realizations of the information. I've always been a people watcher, and in my mind, I was always trying to understand human behavior, and although I had a lot of thoughts and insights of my own, while I was studying the field of psychology, a lot of it didn't necessarily crossfoot with what I felt within about why us crazy humans do the things that we do. I feel that my understanding of psychology and realizations of a lot of the psychological principles are more solidified now because I've done the internal work, learned better observation skills of my own mind, and of observing the world around me. I also am studying the field of psychology outside of the controlled environment of academia, which sheds a much darker picture than what I learned in that arena. The word psyche is much like the word ego, in that it gets thrown around like confetti without the tossers having a clue as to what it really is, and I can tell you from studying the field of psychology that the field also doesn't have a clue as to what the psyche really is. With this presentation, I'm going to share my insights on what the psyche is and clarify my own words when I talk about the Hapim psyche and the PSOYCA psyche. So, I ask you this question: what is the psyche? I want you to pause the video and think about this question. I'm going to share with you several definitions of the word psyche. Number 1, the human soul, spirit, or mind. Number 2, the mental or psychological structure of a person, especially as a motive force. Of these two definitions, I will tell you the first one is completely wrong. The second definition, which is a psychological definition, is closer to correct, but it still greatly misses the mark because from my perspective, the psyche isn't just about the mental aspects of the person, it also includes the physiology of the person with or without mental cooperation. A few years back, I asked one of our crew out there the question that I've asked all of you, and the simple answer I received is this: the psyche is a product of input. In my contemplations, I've come back to this over the years, trying to gain some realizations about this and what it means, and here's the way I see it. I went into more detail about this in the Toolbox for the Second Cognition book, but here I'm going to share more insights that I've had over the last few weeks. Most Americans, I'm not sure about our overseas listeners, are familiar with the two phrases, everyone has skeletons in their closet, and everyone carries baggage. If you are familiar with these two phrases, think about the psyche and as it's defined by the field of psychology, and tell me, where does the psyche lie in relation to these two phrases? If you don't know what these two phrases mean, I will share it. Everyone has skeletons in their closet means that everyone has something from their past that they want to hide from everyone else in the world. They don't want these things made public to anyone's awareness. Why? Fear of being judged, fear of being caught, fear of being mocked, fear of remembering something they don't want to remember. In other words, fear. Everyone carries baggage is a phrase used mostly to explain away why people do stupid shit in relationships. It is an excuse for becoming jaded in love or emotionally and psychologically beat down over the world and their experiences and their place in that world, or it's used to bolster a victim mentality. The psyche in relation to these two phrases are the closet and the luggage. The psyche is not the skeleton, and it's not the contents of the baggage, it is what carries the baggage. Contemplate that. In our work, we talk a lot about cognitive boxes, and the psyche is the warehouse for all of these cognitive boxes. It's not the boxes themselves, nor the contents within the boxes. It is the storehouse. The psychological definition says the psyche is the mental and psychological structure of a person, especially where motivation is concerned. The reason I disagree with this is because I can see from my own experiences where things in that warehouse and in those boxes had more to do with motivational forces within my mind and I also see where those things and boxes caused no psychological or mental issues, yet caused great physiological issues. So, if the psyche was the structure of a personal mental state and or their psychological state, is there really a difference between the two? Then clearing the psyche of trauma and things that do not serve your psychic growth would take away the person, would it not? But we find out from doing our own internal work that it doesn't take away who we are. It allows us to change who we are. The psyche being a product of input makes so much sense when you look at our composition as human beings. Once again, I share this in the Toolbox book. Our being is comprised of a consciousness, which is our PSOYCA, a body consciousness that is its own artificial intelligence programmed consciousness that operates the form, and the herpes virus that everyone was infected with. If you take every experience, every trauma, every happy memory, every perception that was made by the herpes and the mimicked by the AI programmed consciousness or the ego, and what little influence our PSOYCA had while it was still hindered by the herpes and its habits, is that not a product of input? I've been through some shit in my life. That's not said to be a comparison to the shit anyone else has been through as mine being worse than anyone else's. It is said because that shit is what created my psyche for a majority of my young life and adult life. Every person's psyche is different because every single one of us contributes input into our individual psyches by how we process and perceive experiences. This path, this PSOYCA path, is about clearing out the old herpes psyche and creating a solid PSOYCA psyche. We have used many analogies regarding this all throughout our work. I am of the firm stance that how we perceive things can hinder us inasmuch as they can help us when we are looking at the whole picture, and any filter we are wearing can leave us hitting the wrong target. If you think your psyche is your soul, or your PSOYCA, or if you think that your psyche is the shit in the box, you miss the work that needs to be done in the warehouse. In my life, my herpes psyche housed many boxes within it, and within those boxes held many things that held me back. I used to have sameness, comfortability, the known. If I deviated from those, I would suffer anxiety and stress, not just mentally, but physically as well. When we experience anything, the first thing we do is to go to that warehouse, the psyche, find the boxes that we need, open it, and pull out the motivation or the filter that will govern how we react to the experience or information we are receiving. When you empty those boxes and get rid of the boxes, you have a new warehouse that you pick and choose what gets put in there and what doesn't. You choose what you want to use if necessary and what doesn't get used. With my old psyche warehouse, when I encountered anything new, I would go there, dig through all the boxes to explain the new experience or the new dilemma I had in front of me. I couldn't make a decision without doing that, and if I found nothing there, I would ask someone else to tell me what I needed to do. A lot of people do this, and I do mean a lot of people do this, but most of them are not cognizant of the fact that they do this, and this is what we share in our body of work. In my new psyche, though, although I've had a lot of bad experiences that are stored in the mental memory of this experience, I do not keep them within the psyche because they don't have a purpose in the PSOYCA psyche at all. Now, I like the unknown. I prefer the unknown because when I'm operating in the unknown, I create everything before me, or I create how I respond to things without having to worry about how to figure things out. I also don't fear the unknown. And when something gets put before me, I don't have a problem making a decision. I don't have to look into a box of past experiences, and I don't have to ask somebody else what I need to do. When a decision gets placed before a PSOYCA warrior, we observe, we figure it out, and we make quick decisions, and we move forward very quickly. And that's what I created for my new PSOYCA Psyche. My old Hapim Psyche was full of stock that I put there because others have told me I had to put it there or that I needed to have it there, but it is old stock. It no longer serves me. Clearing out the old stock and making a PSOYCA Psyche by getting rid of everything that doesn't serve my PSOYCA growth and expansion, and I put in what I want and what I need and not what everyone else tells me. Motivation is what propels human behavior. The motivation for human behavior is neatly categorized in boxes contained within the psyche and is what creates the motivation within, not the psyche itself. I feel this is very important to understand because if you think the psyche is something that it's not, and you've put your focus on the psyche itself, then you're not really looking at the issue that needs to be addressed, now are you? Many people absolutely do not like looking within themselves to start making changes, and many more think they are looking within themselves but not looking very deep. It's like a hoarder. Hoarders have way too much crap that they think they need and will argue with anyone that tells them they need to get rid of some things. Just because you have your psyche warehouse neatly organized doesn't mean that you aren't hoarding things that do not serve your PSOYCA growth and expansion. I want to welcome all our new listeners and subscribers to the channel. I want to thank everyone for considering this information. Please remember the comments are open to start a discussion on this topic. Questions will benefit everyone. Until next time, I'm Gemma Beall. Stay the course and don't give up on yourself.